The Fox City SCORE chapter and WHBY are pleased to bring you Biz Talk, a chance for you to hear from entrepreneurs and professionals as they share their experiences from starting to sustaining growth. Learn the skills needed for your business to be successful. If you missed anything, you can catch the Biz Talk podcast at biztalkwithscore.com. And now from the Myron Construction Studio, it's Biz Talk on WHBY.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rick Sentz. Today, along with special guest host Laure Haak. And Laure is the chair of the SCORE Green Bay chapter, and she's also been a mentor there since 2020. Laure, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Rick. It's a real pleasure to be here. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'm looking forward to having you guest host today. Can you give listeners a little bit of background of what you do up in the Green Bay chapter?
Yeah, so we have about 30 mentors in the Green Bay chapter, and we provide mentoring services to small businesses from the very beginning when you're just thinking about starting your business, all the way through to even thinking about exit strategies, selling your business. We also participate in local live mentoring kind of meetups with entrepreneurs. So if you want to meet a mentor in person, we can do that. And we partner with folks like WIBIC and others on, how to find funding for your startup as well, or your business. So we provide a lot of both in person, on the phone, as well as live events to support the small business community.
Yeah, it sounds like our missions overlap quite a bit with the Fox Cities chapter as well. And listeners, just so you know, we work pretty closely with the folks up in Green Bay, and it's been a good opportunity to work with them and partner with them on many projects going forward. Hopefully that'll continue. So, again, welcome to the show, Laure. I'm glad you're here today. So, our guests, besides Laure, are Dana and Eric Krueger. They are the owners of the Crystal Ballroom in St. John, and everybody's going to scratch their head and say, okay, where is St. John? But St. John is in Calumet County. And just welcome to the show, guys. How you doing today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So maybe we could just start off by having you each give a little bit of your life story pre-Crystal Ballroom to kind of set the stage for us.
Sure. I'll go ahead. So I spent the majority of my life as a dancer. Started in youth dance programs, grew up through middle school, high school, college dancing, and then turned to teaching. Taught locally in a variety of different recreational programs over the years. Finally decided to try to settle into one location, and started teaching in Sherwood. Opened my own studio in there, and obviously things have been going well and had gone even better in recent years, and decided to expand to another location. Came across the situation with the Crystal Ballroom. Unfortunately, we found out it was closing, and thought we would jump on the opportunity to use that as a way to expand our space for the dance studio. Obviously, it was a little bit more than we needed, so we kind of modified the business plan, and kind of been an adventure ever since.
So there's the dance background. So Eric, I hate to put it to you this bluntly, but what do you bring to the equation? You've got the dancing right here. So what are you bringing here? So
I leave the dancing to her.
Okay.
I'm a work in progress there. Definitely have two left feet, but my background is really more based in music. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I've been a musician professionally for almost 30 years now. Songwriter, performer, toured the Midwest a number of times. And throughout that, obviously, being a musician isn't really a reliable income. So I've traversed a number of different fields, from hospitality to event planning, which really comes back in handy now that we have that addition to our business plan. But in the meantime, for the last about 10 years, I've been in the BPO space as well, so the contact center industry in sales. So a wide background of skill set. But when I met Dana in 2005, obviously a lot of synergies there with art, dance, music, et cetera. So as we jumped into the dance field and now the event space, it's been a fun little adventure.
So you made the comment earlier, Dana, about the fact that the Rebel Dance Studio was you wanted to expand, and you came across this building. Can you maybe give listeners an idea of the building and its history and maybe how that helped you lead to make the decision to do something with the building? Maybe if you'd spend some time on that.
Sure. Well, I mean, the history is very deep, very rich with the ballroom, and obviously that wasn't the initial attraction to it, but it definitely developed. Just so many things have happened there in the last 100 years. There was a building there even before the current ballroom, and the dance hall is one of the first dance halls in the area. There were actually 3 dance halls prior to the current state. 2 of them are obviously no longer. But the history goes back, being built 1928. And the dancing was a big part of it all the way through. There was a bar, tavern. We actually found out there was some prohibition, we'll say, like behind the scenes action going on, which we found to be a little bit fascinating. But a lot of the history is we've more or less come across over the course of the last year. It was just the beauty of the ballroom in and of itself that kind of brought us to it in the first place. Like I mentioned, it had a little bit more space than we initially needed, but when you first kind of came into the space, it really draws you right in. Even without knowing the history initially, you can just feel it. If those walls could talk, you come into the space and it comes alive. It really feels like it's a space that's living and breathing, all the memories.
So one of the questions I have for you, right, clearly you walked in, you wanted the extra space for your dance studio, and you have a business plan, and the space is a little bigger than you were expecting. So I'm imagining that also means there's prices and costs here that are also different than what you had anticipated. So you have this dream, the space is talking to you. What gave you the confidence to just go for it? What was it that allowed you to do that?
Oh, well, it was definitely a past experience and just entrepreneurial spirit. Prior to owning the dance studio, I had dabbled in a coffee shop for a couple of years during college. And a lot of life experiences came with that, not having a lot of work background. I was only 21 at the time, so didn't have a lot of work experience to take me right into owning my own business, but essentially been doing that since my adult life. So not a lot of fear in that department because I've kind of been in some of the scariest points of being a small business owner. Fortunately, at that time, I was much younger and really didn't have much to worry about. So this time was a little bit different. Obviously, having my husband here being an excellent partner, supportive, and being encouraging, believing in what we can do. A little bit of that American dream. We really just wanted to build something. We've done, small things over time. We thought, well, why not build this mountain? And go for it. Obviously, the experience of knowing we can pretty much overcome anything we have to with enough perseverance. We're confident we'll make it work. So we had a couple diversified plans and knew if one route didn't work, another would. So
when you brought in the idea of expanding to the larger facility and you went through the building, what kind of things needed to be done to make it work for what you wanted to do with it?
Well, sure. Fortunately, the majority of the building was in decent condition. It just, hadn't been just overall maintained for a handful of years. But as far as the functionality of the business, it was pretty turnkey. The studio that we're currently teaching more of the youth classes, we needed to install a wall. So there was a lobby section for parents and families with siblings could spend some time in there. And then we just moved the majority of the equipment from the previous facility right over. So it was actually a pretty simple process besides a lot of just physical labor of moving everything in. We were fortunate in that regard. We didn't have to do a whole lot of like major things like plumbing and electricity and major replacements like that.
And maybe if you could take a moment to describe the facility. I've been in it. It's beautiful. But I'm not going to do it justice. What's there for people when they first walk through the doors? What are they going to experience?
Sure. Well, for me, even just driving up to the building, it's got the wraparound veranda. I mean, for the way that I feel when I see it is kind of like an old New Orleans almost kind of feeling. So you kind of come up once you enter in the building, you kind of get a blast from the past. It's got, Art Deco, kind of that great Gatsby vibe. Right away when you walk into one of our first lounges, it's got a very just super, you feel like almost like you're walking into an old speakeasy. But it's not just manufactured. It's in real time. It's an actual building that existed during those times. When you walk into the ballroom itself, it's got beautiful, ornate wood, around the bar. And one of the very cool things is one of the previous owners, they did take the time to reuse a lot of things when they had to do some renovations. They reuse a lot of items, like the glass windows that are in the bar are reused from panes of the windows of there was an old, bar out front. The tables, they use the floor, the old floor and the old stairs. They repurposed those to use tables in the ballroom. It's got that old time vibe where we've got the bench seating around the ballroom and the tables to surround. The ceiling is arches up, just beautiful, great for sound, draping chandeliers coming from the ceiling. And then of course, when you look at the stage, you can just see the old big bands just playing. It's a step right back into history, and you can just feel it. And like I said before, those walls just start talking the minute you're in the room.
Eric, from your perspective, being the musician, Dana mentioned the band element. Can you maybe walk listeners through what you see and feel from the musician standpoint with the ballroom?
Yeah, she covered it well. And then just from the performance eye, the stage is absolutely fantastic in terms of the size to accommodate anything from a solo performer, singer, songwriter to we had a salsa band that's up to 12, 13, 14 piece band. So you think about those old time swing bands. That's something that we're also looking into to host. But the acoustics in terms of sound are top notch, one of a kind. So just having that ability of having that, the viewpoint of the listener, the person who's actually watching and taking in the performance, there's not a bad line of sight in the room as well. So, just being a performer and looking out from that stage, it's one of a kind. It really is compared to a number of different rooms I've played in.
What kind of events are you hosting so far? Have you had at the venue?
Yes, well, we started off with pretty much every weekend ballroom dance. Fridays are traditionally more of a ballroom persuasion. Occasionally, we will have line dancing and other styles. Then Saturdays are often reserved for some of our other types of styles. We do swing dance. We do more line dancing, Latin dance. We've tried even such things as a 90s night, a variety of things. Sundays, we typically reserve for our afternoon tea dances. A lot of people appreciate those, don't drive in the evenings or from traveling from a distance. They enjoy those afternoon dances. We'll occasionally do a pop-up one on a Saturday afternoon as well. The weeknights are pretty much reserved for dance students, so we don't do a lot during the week with that. But the weekends we kind of say the weekdays are for the youngsters and the weekends are for the adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then on top of that, we've had a number of different events. Obviously, weddings is really one of our big pillars of our business plan and business model. So various events from weddings, bridal showers, birthday parties, anniversaries, etc.
Graduation parties.
And having both a dance studio space for the younger demographic and then the ballroom itself that also presents opportunities as well for those different various levels of events, daddy-daughter dances, etc.
Yes, daddy-daughter dance, of course.
Yeah. I hear you guys just had your own anniversary.
We did. Yes. We celebrated 1 year of ownership. So we had our 1 year anniversary. We called it the Crystal Ball. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be an annual thing. It's a black tie formal, suggested but not required. So you get an opportunity to dress up a little bit. Obviously we gear it towards social dancing, ballroom dancing specifically, but it's really open to the public, of course, as are all of our dances. Right. We want to be as welcoming as we can.
Yeah. And we really encourage folks who haven't danced before to definitely still come out. It's such a welcoming community. I know a lot of times people are really intimidated, by going out like, oh, geez, I don't dance. Like you even said, I got 2 left feet, but it's incredible what some of the folks will do. And some of our veteran dancers just adore it when new people come out. They love being able to show and share and demonstrate. And we'll have people sometimes, in the middle of the room. and demonstrating. We had a couple of kids out last weekend that are younger. They brought their friends out. We're showing them some dance moves in the center of the floor just so that they can start to learn. We offer occasional ballroom dance lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely not, I think a lot of people are very intimidated by, well, I've never ballroom danced, but we really encourage, if anything, the site is something to see. I know I didn't fully understand it until we had our first ballroom dance. Just watching that room, you'd think you'd walked into Cinderella. It's something to see, even if you aren't a dancer. It's inspiring.
It really is.
Yeah. So you're offering, so I noticed on your website you have, like you said, you have classes. It sounds like you also have like come to line dancing on Fridays, I think it is. But you offer like mini lessons at the line dancing so people can get what's going on. So that's kind of cool. So can you talk a little bit more about those lessons? And then I also want to get into the food, because clearly food is a big part of this. So if you can talk a little bit about the lessons and then how you bring food into this whole mix, that would be neat.
Sure. So the ballroom lessons are a little bit less frequent, but anytime we have like a main event, like a line dance or a Latin dance or a swing dance, it pretty much always is accompanied by a pre-lesson. So folks can come in, they typically learn a basic step and then a combination, and sometimes depending on how the crowd is following along, they'll do a more advanced step as well. All of the instructors that we have are from a variety of studios throughout the local area. We don't have instructors of our own, where we want to stay within the group and the community. So those instructors come in. So it's a great opportunity too for local studios to promote their instructors and gain new students if anyone is interested. So it'll usually start off with introductory. You kind of go through, and then those instructors will stick around for a while after, and folks can continue to kind of review the steps. The line dancing, we have a little bit different a format. Typically, you'll learn 2 dances at the beginning of the evening. Again, those instructors are wonderful, help folks out throughout the night. But again, that's also another wonderfully welcoming community. They'll send everybody to the middle and you just kind of follow along. So every time you turn, you got someone else to watch. So again, great. There's not a bad dancer in the house. Everybody is always so wonderful and welcoming and wants more people a part of the community.
With that, we're going to take our first break, and I'm anxious to hear all about the food. So when we come back, we'll pick that up where we left it. So you've been listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I'm Rick Sense, along with special guest co-host today, Laure Haak. And we are talking with Dana and Eric Krueger from the Crystal Ballroom in St. John in Calumet County. But before we get back to the program, I just want to take a moment to talk to you about SCORE. Fox City SCORE serves an 8-county area with offices in Appleton, Oshkosh, and Fond du Lac. We have about 45 volunteer mentors, each an expert in their field, offering entrepreneurs no cost and confidential mentoring. Those areas of expertise include IT, social media, marketing, cash flow, accounting, strategic planning, workflow, human resources, retail, best practices, and many, many others. In order to register for a no-cost confidential mentoring session and or to learn more about the Fox City SCORE chapter, visit our website at score.org/Fox Cities. You can learn more about how the SCORE chapter can assist you with starting and or growing your business. And you can complete an application for an online mentoring, or online you can complete that application for a mentoring session. Simply complete the form and submit to SCORE. And within a few days, a SCORE mentor will be contacting you to set up a meeting. Remember, SCORE is no cost and offers experts who can offer you assistance in many different areas. To get started, visit our website at score.org/Fox Cities. And to support small business people, Fox City SCORE is always looking for new mentors. If you have experience that you would like to share with others, we'd love to talk to you. We welcome volunteers with experience in all aspects of business. Small business owners need your help, and your experience can make a real difference to their success. Go to score.org/Fox Cities, click on the volunteer button, and fill out the short application, and we'll get back to you to explain more. Thanks again for joining us on Biz Talk, and now I'm going to throw the show back over to Laure.
Hi, again, thank you, Rick. And I would say ditto for Green Bay. We have the same kinds of services offered by SCORE Green Bay. And as Rick mentioned at the beginning, we're really looking forward to increasing our collaboration with the Fox Cities chapter and supporting small businesses. So thank you for that, Rick. Eric and Dana, before the break, we had talked a bit about the venue, the kinds of dancing opportunities and lessons opportunities for folks like me who have two right feet. But also, when I think about going out for an evening at dance, there's also the food component. And so I'm wondering if you could talk a bit about how you support people's, delight, not just in the dancing, but also in eating to accompany that.
Yeah, so we are primarily our focus is the dancing component, but definitely we want to make sure that we have some options for light snacks, light fare, etc. So one of the big things as you walk in is you are going to get the appetizing aroma of fresh popcorn. And that is one thing that just captivates everyone. Honestly, right when we take the door admission, 9 times out of 10, that is the comment. Again, it goes back to Dana's earlier comments about stepping back in time and having that nice familiarity and that feeling.
It's not quite the same as the movie theater, though.
Right,
exactly. It's a different with the wood.
It really is. Yep. And we have a snack table just right to the right of the bar area. So a variety of snacks depending on the event. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, when we gear towards more of our, our formal dances, or even when we're getting into some of those larger events or even weddings, that's where we have food catered in. So depending on the event, we'll have a wide variety of fare. And of course, we have a number of different local catering companies in the area that we work with in close partnership. And that's definitely been something that's been great as well. So,
yeah.
And you mentioned the weddings earlier as well. Can you maybe give listeners an idea of some of the other amenities that are there that are just not inside the ballroom, but in the area surrounding as well for the wedding venue?
Yes, so we do have the unique opportunity to offer the ceremonies outside as well as indoors. One of the really nice things is if in the event of inclement weather, we can easily move indoors to do the ceremony. But we do have a very lovely gazebo with a newly replaced floor that's centered in the middle of kind of a park-like setting on the south side of the ballroom. We're currently adding each week, in fact, new flowers to kind of incorporate a very scenic and colorful and lovely scented, hopefully, environment for the weddings. We, of course, do the white folding chairs for the ceremony. And Eric can actually offer officiating services. He is an ordained minister. Okay. So we do have, the ability to host the wedding from start to finish. We have got ready rooms that are above the ballroom, conveniently also overlook the ballroom, which is a fun, unique experience for our couples. They find that always fun that they can sneak off into those rooms and then be able to watch their guest from below. Mm-hmm. But we also have a very gorgeous wraparound veranda that is beautiful for pictures. We've actually had a number of folks that didn't have their ceremonies at the ballroom, but did come and take their pictures, just because the setting is so very lovely. Mm-hmm. And it also allows for us to be able to do outdoor beverages, and we will be incorporating things like we call the Crystal Gardens. We can have an outdoor dance floor, outdoor bar access. So if someone wanted to have an outdoor wedding, we would be able to accommodate that. And again, in the event of inclement weather, could very easily move indoors. So it's a pretty flexible space, very versatile. So it's a seamless transition from indoor to outdoor. So we can offer a lot of convenience for couples looking to tie the knot. And
seamless transition from dinner to dancing, which of course is really one of the things that we really focus on there too. So we have the ability to transfer that space, transform it right away in just a matter of minutes to get to the fun stuff where the lights come on and people can have a little fun and dance the night away.
And unique is our bar is located attached to the ballroom, so you don't lose half of the family members to the bar during the reception as well. We keep them on the dance floor and keep the family together, which I know for some that's important.
All right. Well, that's a good place for us to take our second break. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I'm Rick Sense, along with my special co-host from our Green Bay chapter up in the beautiful area of northeastern Wisconsin, just north of the Fox Cities. That is special guest Laure Haak, and she is chair of the Score Green Bay chapter board and also a mentor there. So do keep that in mind if you're in the Green Bay market, if you're looking for some help. the SCORE chapter up in that area of the state can be very helpful and be willing to help you do what you need to do as far as mentoring needs, advice, and counsel. So, Laure, I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you want to pick up our conversation with the Kruegers.
Sure. Dana, at the beginning of this conversation, you talked a bit about kind of what background you had in running a business. And a lot of people that are starting a business don't have that background and experience in, running a coffee shop or, I guess I'll say kind of maybe failing a little bit and learning from failure as to like what to do and what not to do. And I'm wondering if you can talk a bit about, what you do, what you and Eric do as you're moving forward when you encounter challenges, problems. Do you have a mentor? Do you work with each other? Do you guys look on how are you getting guidance for running your business?
Sure. Obviously we have a lot of conversations. So yeah, we work together a lot, bouncing a lot of ideas, and just hearing things out loud sometimes is very helpful. I'm a big fan of research. So I do compile information from multiple sources, social media articles, leaders in the business industry, and just kind of follow, what are the things that they're recommending that you do or look into. I'm big on getting opinions. We were fortunate enough that the previous owners have also been very helpful, sharing their information, their experiences. I was just able to call Lisa, one of the previous owners, and talk to her a little bit more about the history of the ballroom and sharing a little bit more. She's got lots and lots of tidbits. So they're still in contact. We're able to text them, questions like, hey, what would you do in this scenario? So they're very helpful in guiding us, especially in the wedding industry, since that's new for both of us. We've got experience that kind of surrounds that, but brand new.
Yeah. So I guess another question I have on that is you're talking to each other, you're talking to former owners, you're talking to folks in the industry. How are you getting feedback from the folks you're serving? And I think that also comes to this question of who are your audiences and who are you trying to engage in the services you're offering?
Sure. Well, I guess we definitely are listening to feedback in the moment itself. We have, especially in the ballroom community, a lot of folks are very vocal on their feelings. A lot of them adore the ballroom. It's a piece of their heart. They look at the ballroom as a space that they're looking to protect and continue as well. So we have a number of, regular patrons that they are very good at sharing with us feedback to, oh, you guys are doing this great. This is wonderful. Or, hey, have you ever thought about maybe trying this? So we do really listen to our people and see what's working, what's not working. I'm a big trend analyzer, so I will pay attention. I will crunch every number I can possibly find to kind of see if I'm noticing anything particular going on. So we are pretty attentive people, paying attention to all the details and making sure we're doing everything that we can, as well as being flexible and making changes when necessary.
Mm-hmm. And then it goes to the other aspect of the business, which is Rebel Dance Academy. So then, we take that feedback as well from families, students, parents, et cetera. So we've definitely, learned to be great listeners. And, you have that ability, like you said, to be flexible and adapt, change, take new ideas and then implement them. At the end of the day, we still are in the happiness business. We want to make sure that we are providing smiles. And really that's coming from the arts in some form. It's either dancing or it's music or, well, then it ties into dancing at weddings too. So, making sure people are happy as they celebrate their special day with us as well. So it's all those multifaceted angles, and really we're a people power business at the end of the day. So as long as we see smiles and we see some feet moving around, we know that we're doing a good job.
We're watching.
Absolutely.
we're watching.
And then we don't even have a choice in the matter sometimes because we're brought on the dance floor by some of those patrons as well. So
we're brought out there regularly.
Yes, we are.
So where's your audience coming from? Are they just local, like in the Fox Cities area, or maybe you can let listeners know where they're all coming out of the woodwork from, so to speak?
It's incredibly broad-based.
Yes.
We've got some regulars that travel up from Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, New London, Iola, Green Bay, De Pere, Sheboygan, Manitowoc,
Grafton, Milwaukee.
Yeah, we've got folks that are coming up from West Bend. So our ballroom dancers, it's anywhere 2-hour radius all the way around. So weddings, it's been mostly local. And then obviously with the dance studio, that's pretty broad based as well, just a little bit more concentrated. I've got students everywhere from Neenah, Kaukauna, Kimberly, Menasha, Combined Locks, all the way to Stockbridge, Chilton, and Hilbert. So we've got kids coming in from all over for the dance and for the ballroom. But the weddings have been pretty local folk, some that live just up the road.
And the location really is, a highlight of that. It speaks to the easy accessibility. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump from most of these municipalities.
Yeah.
And just being off of US Highway 10, and then the county truck B and BB were very easy to find. And it seems like we're able to provide that option for a lot of people.
It's a pretty straight shot. Once you get to the outskirts of town, it's a quick ride. Mm-hmm. From pretty much everywhere, Green Bay, Appleton, Manitowoc, and Fond du Lac.
Yep.
So how has your business plan evolved since you've started?
For the most part, we've stayed true to it. We've just had to expedite a few things. Obviously, when we first started, we had kind of a 5-year plan of how we were going to implement each additional business element. Because obviously, when we first discussed, the dance studio was our primary plan, followed by the ballroom. And then we were going to add music, and weddings were technically going to be the last thing that we started to step into. But we had a number of inquiries right off the get-go, more than we were expecting. Many we had to turn away. We weren't prepared to do anything with. We were like, we've got a lot of work to do before we're doing this. But after the inquiries just kind of kept coming in, we thought this might be something we need to amp up here on the schedule for the plan. So that's something that we did start researching, planning, talking and getting a little bit more information on what we needed to do to be ready for that. So that would be the only thing I would say we kind of jumped on the fast train for that one, because that was just obviously a demand. We wanted to meet that.
And what did you miss in your business plan that just kind of snuck up on you and surprised you?
Sleep.
Yes, sleep.
That's an honest answer.
Sleep.
Sleep. No, I mean, I don't think there's been any significant surprises. It's just, again, having done the business thing for a while, you get curveballs and you know it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Dana, one of the things you mentioned was crunching numbers. And I spend a lot of time in these relational databases with the clients that I work with, right? And trying to get them to understand that if you put the data in a database, you can run some numbers and track trends. So I'm curious what you're doing in terms of, what data are you collecting? What are you collecting it into? And when you say crunch the numbers, like what is it that you're looking at?
Sure. Well, I kind of import everything into an Excel file. So I have I'm kind of paying attention to the number of folks that are coming, what events more people are coming to, what seems to be a trend with weather, or, if we've got, one of our biggest things we noticed is during the summertime, it's beautiful. People want to be outside. Although our ballroom is air conditioned and some folks appreciate that, we noticed that people want to be outside. So we kind of were paying attention to that so we can start moving some outdoor events into our Crystal Gardens. Kind of just paying attention to when we promote, how far in advance people like to know. Is it 2 weeks, 6 weeks? What's that sweet spot of starting to let people know we have something going on? You do it too far in advance, people forget. You do it too short notice, people can't plan. So just kind of paying attention to those trends in our own marketing, what we're doing that seems to be hitting the mark, where are we missing, other events in the area, if they're drawing similar crowds, similar people, just kind of paying attention to, a lot of our regulars. Where are they going? When are they going? Why are people choosing other things? Why are they choosing us? And then just kind of keeping track of mostly the attendance is probably the biggest thing I pay attention to.
Outside of the bills. It's definitely one.
Well, there's
thing,
those
course,
numbers
make sure
too.
listeners remember
Always looking to increase revenue and decrease those expenses every time we turn. Absolutely.
You mentioned before sleep was something you missed in your business plan. I know you both have a young family. Can you talk about how that's impacted the business, and is it something that you are finding, boy, we wish we had more time for our kids, or how is that working for you?
Well, they are, considering they're going to be carrying the torch on from us at some point, they're our best workers.
Yes,
we're a small staff, and they are two of the key components of it. They're just as much of a face of the ballroom and the dance studio as we are.
We've several patrons that are often wondering, where are the kids tonight? Why aren't they here?
If they're with Grandma and Grandpa, some of the patrons are a little sad because our little man is the door greeter, makes popcorn. Our daughter is usually at the door taking money. They both, of course, are helping doing cleaning, other little tasks. But very much a family entity. And it's wonderful to see their little brains just, come alive and capture and ask questions and learn how to talk to people and become confident, have conversations, ask about dancing, why people dance, all those little things from a child's perspective, and then having that key component to it. It's really neat for us.
It's very much a family business. They're involved every step of the way, and they always have been. All the way back to when we first had the kiddos, we made the decision, I was going to be home during the day teaching at night. So Eric was going to work during the day and home with the kids at night. So, they've kind of always been along for the ride. If we had events going on here, they came. I've been involved in recreational programs for years, Eric in music for years. They've just always come. They're incredibly versatile children. We get compliments all the time at like, wow, your kids are, only that old or whatever. And they've just been really exposed and a part of it. We didn't leave them home with sitters. We brought them along. So they're incredible. And they're some of our best staff, if you will. They're, hey, you guys, can you do this? And they get it done. You're like, wow, all right, way to go, you guys.
That's how you do it.
So what has been the biggest struggle, if you had a struggle so far?
Can we go back to the sleep point that we made?
Sure.
That's really it. I would say it's lack of caffeine. If we can't get our hands on a good cup of coffee in the morning.
I think ultimately it's, family, sacrificing that family time. And our family time is sometimes cleaning the ballroom and not going to the movies. So I would say that's probably been the biggest struggle is navigating the work-life balance, which every small business owner out there knows there really is no balance. It's just work. And then when can we incorporate family into that? And it's a life you choose. It's also provided us some of the freedoms that, a conventional work would not have. So our kids are having opportunities other kids aren't going to get. So there's trade-offs to everything. But there's days where like, wish we could just hang out as a family and not have to go do that. But overall, that's ultimately been probably the biggest challenge we've faced.
But therein lies opportunity. There's goals that we can set to ourselves that we can hopefully work ourselves into a position where we can take some of that time as well and rely on the staff to take over, and we can go to the Packer game.
So I think within that question, you talked about incorporating your family. What advice would you give to somebody else thinking about starting a venue-based business?
Definitely multiply the amount of time you think you're going to spend by 4, and definitely the amount of money you're going to spend by 10. Starting there. Always overestimate. You'd be much better off to be pleasantly surprised that you have more time and money than to be short. It's a pretty significant investment. The rewards, I'm sure we'll be seeing more of them soon because we're still in that building phase. But ultimately, that hard work it feels good. So, if you're somebody who you find reward in your own, seeing your own hard work done, not necessarily always a financial or promotional type of reward. If you're someone who's more intrinsically motivated, I would say definitely, this is for you. If you're someone who needs more pats on the back or a little more financial motivation, I would say maybe look in a different direction. But definitely perseverance.
Who's really impacted you as far as who have you been able to look to really that has helped you with the business as you've gone forward?
I would say we're looking at each other. We're definitely that's
probably our own best motivators and supporters. We make a pretty good team, and in that regard, we're very lucky that we're able to do this as well. Not every couple has a dynamic that works that way. We're pretty good at being each other's yin to each other's yang.
But then that feedback again from our customers and from clients and from dancers, from dance students, families, those sorts of things. But of course, we do have other, friends and family and people who are supportive as well. And they're curious to know what's next at the ballroom. What is our next plan? What happened last weekend? How did the wedding go? How are the dancers? What kind of dance moves did they do? What is the bar like? What is the veranda like outside? There's so many questions because it's such a versatile, unique space. And again, it goes really back to that fact that it's unique in the area. And I would argue probably in the country these days is, unfortunately, some of these beautiful historic buildings get torn down. This has persevered it's been 95 years now. So we're really already planning the big 100th celebration of the Crystal Ballroom. and look forward to carrying it on for generations to come.
Great. This is a great time to take our last break. You've already touched on what I'd like to bring back into the fourth segment, and that is, so what's next? And we'll get into that after the break. So you're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I'm your host, Rick Sent, along with special guest co-host. That's a mouthful, sorry. Co-host today, and that is Laure Haak. And Laure is the chair of the Green Bay chapter of SCORE. So we're really excited to have her on board today. Thanks again for joining us, Laure.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get back to the program with the Kruegers, I'd like to just take a moment to thank our sponsors. And our donors that bring Biz Talk to you each weekend here on WHBY. We couldn't present Biz Talk without their generous support. Thank you to Hailing and Associates. Hailing and Associates helps small businesses and individuals not just prepare tax returns, but plan for taxes, thereby helping you minimize taxes for this year and beyond. Hailing and Associates, personal connection, positive results. A special thank you to the Business News for promoting our program in the biweekly business newspaper serving Northeast Wisconsin. If you aren't already subscribing to Business News, you should. The paper is delivered biweekly and contains relevant and useful information about the business community in Northeast Wisconsin. We'd also like to recognize the David L. and Rita E. Nelson Fund within the Community Foundation for the Fox Valley region for their generous donation and support of Biz Talk and Fox City Score. So, Dana and Eric, I have to give you the opportunity to give information out to people so they know how to get a hold of you. So would you just take a moment to kind of walk people through that?
Absolutely. So being that we have basically two businesses under one roof, we would give you a couple of different websites to start with. So rebeldanceacademy.com would be all the information about registration for classes, descriptions, camps, all the various different activities that are run through that arm of the business. So that's really geared for those youth dance programs and instruction. And then the crystalwisconsin.com is really more about the ballroom, venue, weddings, live music events, etc. So both of those, of course, also have social media presence on Facebook at the Crystal Wisconsin, also at Rebel Dance Academy. And then we are also on Instagram as well. So a wide variety of information on both, or all those resources rather, upcoming events, a little information about the venue itself, and ways to inquire about tours if you'd like to take a tour of the facility, if you're looking to host an event or a wedding, or if you're looking for more information just about our weekly or monthly events. That's where you can find a listing of all of those.
All right. Maybe you could just also take a few minutes to just walk listeners through what's happening out at the Crystal, and at everybody, by the way, out here in Calumet County, we call it the Crystal. But if you want to just maybe spend some time with that, and maybe what you guys have planned for the future.
Absolutely. So we have weekly ballroom dances. So those are on Friday nights from 8 to 11 p.m. On the third Friday of each month is where we have the beginner ballroom night. So that has a lesson prior to, so that usually starts about 6:30. And that will give you more information. If you go to our website or the Facebook page and click on the event tab, you're going to be able to find more information on what style of dance is going to be featured that evening, who the instructor is. And then, of course, we open that up to the open dancing as well. So then we also have line dancing on the third Saturday of each month, again, with lessons there. And those are also very interactive, again, for both ballroom and line dancing, as well as the various swing nights and the Latin dance nights. All skill levels are more than welcome to attend. There's going to be opportunities for everyone who is a seasoned pro to, that beginner who's just learning how to really keep time and move those feet. And then we also have, what am I missing? On June 29th, I want to call that out specifically because my band is playing, and that's also a ballroom dance event. So my band is called A-Town Unplugged, one of the bands I'm in. And this is a really neat opportunity for people to adapt to live music in dancing. So we have a lesson prior to from Chuck and Jesse from Valley Social Dance Studio in Appleton. So they walk through those steps on how to really listen to that beat and identify what dance style of dance you can dance along to. And we play a wide variety of music from everything from Johnny Cash to Simon and Garfunkel to the Beatles to everything in between. So that's been a really fun night. We did that back in January, and that's backed by popular demand. And then we also have a really neat thing in terms of the live music arm of the business model, which is just starting to grow and getting off its feet. It's going to start with a special Mile of Music event called Mile Down the Road. I am sworn to secrecy on some of that information unless you are a music maker. So we definitely recommend going to mileofmusic.com for more information on how you can get really that access to that information.
So Mile of Music's hitting the road, eh?
They are.
All right.
Well, technically a few miles down the road. It's down there. Yeah.
That's exciting stuff. Well, Dana and Eric, it's been great having you on today. I just think it's an awesome thing that you're doing and with such a wonderfully historic and iconic structure there in Calumet County at St. John. And I wish you all the luck and continued success and that you continue to build on the programming that you've done and also with the Dance Academy as well. And listeners, I want to first of all thank you for listening. Secondly, I want to extend again a big thank you to Laure Haak for joining us today again from the Green Bay chapter. And we appreciate the fact that you take the time out on your Saturday morning to give us a listen. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have a program. So thank you again. You've been listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. Have a great week.